Good morning. Today we will be talking about one of the things that you students must understand and comprehend about the aspects of communication. We will talk about the types of speech context. Bear in mind that communication is a quintessential human ability that a person, or in this case, a student, must possess. There is never a day that we people do not communicate. We talk, we share ideas, we listen, and we respond. Things that we people commonly do such as engaging in a group discussion, updating our social media status, having conversation with someone you are interested in, giving small talk to or with a family member. These are but some of the common communication situations that we are engaged into. It is fair and just to know these communication situations or context. But before proceeding, please be guided by the following objectives. At the end of this lesson, you are expected to: Number 1, define speech context. Number 2, identify the various types of speech context in different situations. And number 3, employ appropriate verbal and non-verbal behavior in different speech context. Let us define first what a speech context is. According to DeVito in 2005, context refers to the setting in which communication takes place. Context helps to establish meaning and can influence what is said and how it is said. Moreover, context, when referring to communication, is the surroundings, circumstances, environment, background, or setting that determine, specify, or clarify the meaning of an event. That's taken from lumenlearning.com/elements of communication. In order to fully grasp of what speech context is, let us be guided by these types. There are 4 types of speech context. Number 1, the intrapersonal context, or also known as intrapersonal communication. According to Hybels and Weaver in 2012, this refers to a type of communication that is focused on one person, where the speaker acts both as the sender and as the receiver of the message. The message is made up of thoughts and feelings, while the medium is the brain that processes what you think and feel. Examples for this type is, say for example, when there is a voice within you that tells you, it is okay, you can still do it, you can make it. When you are losing your drive to finish the task that you are doing. Another situation is when you tell yourself not to talk to your friends when you have read in a Facebook post that they were in a party and yet you were not invited. So in other words, if you are talking to yourself, you are practicing intrapersonal communication. Thus, intrapersonal context. The second type of speech context is the interpersonal communication. This refers to the type of communication that takes place between and among people and creates a personal relationship between and among them. Normally, it involves two individuals and it can vary from casual and very personal to formal and impersonal. Under interpersonal communication, there are two types. What are these? These are the number one, dyad communication, and the second one, small group communication. What is a dyad communication? Dyad communication is a communication that happens between two people. Check that. Between two people. Example for this one is when you console your brother who is feeling down. So there are two people involved. It's you and your brother. So it is an example of a dyad communication. Another situational example for this type is when your father has a conversation with your mother about the latest announcement of your barangay chairman. So it involves two people. The small group applies to interactions involving at least 3, but not more than 12 people engaged in face-to-face interactions to achieve the desired goal. In this type of conversation, all participants can freely express their ideas throughout the discussions. Example: when you and your other siblings are having a discussion about the surprise party you are planning for your mom's birthday. Another one, Kathleen, who just came back from the United States of America, calls her 3 brothers and 4 sisters and announced that she is getting married. So the main difference between a dyad communication and small group communication is the former only includes 2 people, while the latter involves not less than 3 people, but not more than 12 people. The third type of speech context is the public communication. According to Hybels and Weaver in 2012, in public communication, unlike interpersonal and small groups, the channels are more exaggerated. The voice is louder and the gestures are more expansive because the audience is larger. This type of communication refers to a communication that enables you to send or deliver a message before a crowd. The message can be transmitted for informative or persuasive purposes. Situational examples for these are: first, delivering a graduation speech to your fellow graduates. Another one, when you were elected as the new SSG president of your school and were given a chance to deliver a message of gratitude to your fellow students. The fourth type of speech context is the mass communication. This refers to communication through television, radio, newspapers, magazines, books, billboards, the internet, and other types of media. Examples: a televised briefing of IATF on COVID-19. Another example, a televised or broadcasted commentary for your school's online discussion of the pandemic and uploaded it in your social media platforms. So those are the 4 types of speech context. Different speech context, whether it is intrapersonal, interpersonal, public, or mass communication, requires different approaches. Though there might be some occasional similarities, you should at least know how to behave and respond to various speech contexts appropriately. Let us say, when you talk to yourself, observe these approaches. Number 1, use self-talk to your advantage. cheering yourself up before an important event, or talking to yourself while completing a task are two perfect opportunities for self-talk. That's according to Gold in 2018. Talking to yourself is normal. The second approach is do not overdo it. While it is normal to talk to yourself constantly, it is better not to overuse yourself of doing so. The most common reason why people end up talking to themselves is because they feel like they do not have anybody else or someone else to talk to. To address this, you need to be more sociable. It would give you more people to talk to other than yourself. Let us say when talking to one person or small group of people, this kind of communication implies that the conversation is being shared and there is exchange of ideas. Small group involves different skills because, unlike dyad, it consists of more than two people, as I made mention earlier. Consider the following approaches. Number 1, listen carefully. You have to listen carefully and understand what the other person is saying. Asking, clarifying questions lets the other person know that you are indeed listening attentively. More so, take active part. You also need to be heard and understood when it is your time to speak. The second approach is check your tone and body language. The vocabulary of the body is more revealing than the actual words you speak. Hence, the saying, actions speak louder than words. So, watch your tone and body language while you are talking. Check your body language to ensure that it is consistent with your words. That is according to Oakes in 2017. But never overdo it. The third approach is be prepared. When talking to the public, be yourself while you are on stage and speak in the way that you will be easily understood by your audience. The key, therefore, is to come prepared. Be prepared. So, to sum it up, context refers to the setting in which the communication takes place. Context helps to establish the meaning and can influence what is said and how it is said. DeVito 2005. Speech context has 4 types. These are interpersonal, intrapersonal, public, and mass communication. Intrapersonal has 2 types: dyad communication and small group communication. These are the approaches when you talk to yourself. Number 1, use self-talk to your advantage. And number 2, do not overdo it. These are the approaches when you are talking to a small group of people. Number 1, listen carefully. Number 2, check your tone and body language. And number 3, be prepared.